No, I'm sure Ame can expound this better, but I believe that we can also share the experience with the past. One is, of course, the tradition of scholarship. People tend to confuse the fact that it is just radicalism or sloganeering, whether it's Islam or Malay culture or nationalism, but without being immersed in understanding and knowledge, not just the 1421 words in Twitter, is real understanding. That would help. That's why I mentioned the space given by Ungku Aziz to the series of seminars. And we were fortunate those days too. You know, we have Zan Abdul Wahid, Najib Alatas, Hussein Alatas, who came down from Singapore. Then we have Kuke Kim. We have quite a number of scholars that and professors who were part of the struggle, who wanted the students to not necessarily to emulate them, but to create this critical awareness. So I think issue of critical thinking, to my mind, is is the essence. People view education as just assimilation of knowledge. I think we require critical thinking. The failure, to my mind, the tragedy in the Muslim world, naturally, even in our country, when you talk about Islam, is more rhetorical without a full grasp and understanding of issues of society. And so if you look at Mahasiswa Menggugat, probably it's a different tradition. People ask me, can we do this? No, not necessarily. I would say that those days there was issue of identity, issue of hopelessness, issue of marginalization. We felt that, you know, there is the sense of the society or the leadership ignoring the sentiments, aspirations of the vast majority. So issue of corruption of people, leaders enriching themselves is not new. We could even see those days. But I think it has become worse, because in those days probably we're talking about 1 or 2 million, and now we're talking about 100 and 200 million. And so the students have a role. Have a proper understanding, get the facts right, read as much as possible, initiate discourse, challenge these norms, and then proceed to whatever necessary demands or action that you feel need to be done. Ungku Aziz was about this role. I would certainly appreciate his difficulty. How does he navigate looking at the less tolerant government with authoritarian streak, and him, a public intellectual, a social critic, who not necessarily condemn, but very critical of our economic policies, the marginalization of our societies, and some of the massive programs, the Muda scheme. I can remember lots of writings, literature that he has done, his worked, which would open up and create a better understanding and awareness. And he gave that space. Now, I think if you ask me seriously, and I did discuss this, I remember a lecture that he gave in the University Pertanian those days. And after the lecture, we sat with him for hours. And we always challenge him. Cool. I always call him Professor. Professor, why are you not writing as much? You know, essential writings on Ungku Aziz, there is certainly a deficit with his grand ideas and schemes, understanding, and scholarship. You don't find. I mean, these are, you know, Jejak Pemerintahan Zaman is a great book, but certainly is small compared to his capacity. The collection of his numerous, these are all essays and articles. His idea, his reply was standard. which I use now. I know why you're not writing. It's all here, but I'll write. So Ungku Aziz said that the time I was a student leader, then the youth leader, then the minister, then opposition leader. This is here, and I'll write. So if you ask me, I think I will follow Ungku Aziz. It's here, and I will write at the right time. But this, of course, a polite criticism of Ungku Aziz, because he did not, craft, which I believe would have been immensely useful our society and for my generation and your generation. But for student leaders, Brother Ame, the challenge is, of course, to create this awareness. You have limitations. If a leader is corrupt, you talk about corruption, you upset him. If the leader has the authoritarian streak or unjust, you talk about justice, they think it's a challenge to their rule. Really is so you must understand that. There's no two way about it. You just like Amar Ma'ruf Nahi Munkar. Your duty is to undertake that effort to create awareness. That's why the key word, the key phrase is critical thinking and awareness.